When people talk about wanting next-generation games and innovative ideas, what they're usually asking for are the genres they already love with prettier graphics. But I would argue that the year's most original game doesn't need super-powered processors or even bleeding-edge graphics to be innovative, because sometimes all you need is the ability to read a Word document and open a couple of JPEGs. Let me introduce you to the USB stick found in the grass, a brand new puzzle game that accurately recreates what it's like to, well, find a USB stick in the grass. If you've ever wanted to spy in on other people's lives and solve a mystery, then this game might be for you. Or it's gonna be the game you end up hating the most this year. There's not a lot of middle ground on this game. Okay, hear me out. One of my favorite movies of all time is Blue Velvet by David Lynch, which sees a very young Kyle MacLachlan get caught up in the seedy, drug-filled underbelly of his otherwise sleepy hometown. In that movie, he stumbles upon a severed ear in a field of grass, which spurs the college student to investigate the case for himself. This ultimately leads to spying in on Isabella Rossellini and hanging out with one of Dennis Hopper's craziest and yet most memorable characters. The USB stick found in the grass reminds me a lot of Blue Velvet. Not the stuff with the drugged up nightclub singer, but rather the feeling of finding a clue in the field and then throwing yourself ear first into the investigation. For the first time in my entire life, I felt like young and innocent Jeffrey Beaumont from Blue Velvet. I had everything I needed to get hopelessly swept up in the drama and the mystery of other people's lives. Not because you're playing some character in a video game, but rather because you're the character in the video game. You're the one who's really conducting this investigation, which means that you're gonna have to use real-world programs and a little bit of know-how to your advantage. The conceit here is that you just found a USB stick in a field and decided to investigate it. Instead of loading into a title screen or doing the usual video game stuff, the USB stick found in the grass creates a new drive on your computer filled with stuff to explore. In other words, it mimics what would have happened if you plugged a mysterious USB drive into your desktop or your laptop. It contains a Word document, some pictures, a couple of ebooks, and a few password-protected folders. We have everything we need to solve the puzzle, including free computer software. The only thing left is for you to piece it all together. Now look, I'm not gonna lie, this is a tough game to talk about. I can tell you that there's a lengthy diary in the folder that you're gonna want to comb for clues, but probably shouldn't get into the specifics. It tells you a story about a character and their friends, all while hinting at not only the bigger picture, but also how to uncover many of the game's juiciest secrets. Yeah, it's not enough to simply poke around for the right answers, because you'll need to dig deeper and think like an investigator. The most refreshing thing about the USB stick found in the grass is that it never holds your hand. There isn't a pop-up box that recommends searching through the books folder, or something pointing you to the right day in the diary. This is a game that expects you to be intrigued enough with the mystery to see it through to the very end. It's for the kind of person who watches detective shows on TV and is always one step ahead of the cops. This game expects you to put in the hard work and crack the case. And let me tell you, it's not always obvious what you're supposed to be doing. Your first instinct is to want to crack those password-protected folders, but you will quickly learn that they don't always hold the key that you're looking for. And it's not as if the rest of the folders are much help, as they seem more designed to obfuscate than clarify. Do I really need to read The Wizard of Oz? Why is this folder empty? What's up with the 2 links to download the controversial 2013 French movie Blue is the Warmest Color? Is that even legal? Am I gonna go to prison for playing this game? These are questions I've never asked while playing a game. And the truth is, the deeper you dive into the diary and fiction, the more reality starts to blur. Part of this is because you're using all your normal computer programs to crack the case. When I use Google to cross-reference clues, I'm using the same browser that I always use to get caught up on the news, find map directions, check Twitter, and even upload videos to YouTube. I can also use the version of Photoshop that I tinker with on a daily basis to analyze the random pictures. Hell, I'm reading the diary using the same edition of Microsoft Word that I use to write every single one of my reviews. It all begins to feel real in a way that you never get in any other video game, even the ones where you plug into a virtual reality headset. There were times when I would hit a brick wall and then have to remind myself that it's just a game. I could do something else and just try to solve the mystery another day. And yet, even as I played other games and went about my normal routine, I couldn't help but think about that diary, the pictures, the empty folders, and the fact that the owner of the drive clearly downloaded Under the Skin and moved it to a different computer. But wait a second, is Under the Skin related to blue as the warmest color? I mean, they both came out in 2013. Could that be a clue? Is it connected to the weird timestamp in the diary? What about all those bold letters? Wait, hang on. Did I just have a light bulb moment, or is this just another dead end? Of course, there is another question you have to ponder. Is the USB stick found in the grass actually fun? The truth is, I don't know. It's definitely rewarding. Even the smallest cracks in the case feel like monumental accomplishments, so in that sense I had fun. What you're buying here isn't necessarily a video game, but rather a real-world mystery experience. You know, it's the same reason you go to an escape room. The story that's being told, as good as it often is, ends up being secondary to the journey. And when it comes right down to it, you're either on board for that journey or you're not. There's just no middle ground here. The thing is, I can see a lot of people giving up on the USB stick found in the grass and concluding that it's the worst game ever made. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if most people came away with that opinion. You have to understand, this is a game made for a very specific audience, the hardcore investigative types. There's no casual player of this game. You don't dip in and out when you have a few extra minutes. This is an experience that can easily take over your life. There were times when I felt like every movie detective with a table full of old evidence, examining and re-examining the photographs, trying to find the clues I missed the first, the second, or maybe even the 500th time. That's an amazingly cool feeling. But at the exact same time, if you're not into solving these kinds of puzzles, then you're gonna hate every single second of this game. If that describes you, then let me recommend the 1986 movie Blue Velvet. It's a classic. The USB stick found in the grass is a game that will either take over your entire life until the case is solved, or will leave you angry at the developer for wasting all of your time. Yeah, there's no middle ground here. It's either an A+ or a complete failure. If you love this kind of puzzle solving, then this is going to be one of the most unique video game experiences you'll ever have. Everybody else will be left scratching their heads. Will I recommend the USB stick found in the grass to many people? Probably not. And yet, it's a perfect execution on a devilishly clever concept. For armchair investigators, this is a real treat. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is the most innovative game you've ever played? Oof, boy, there's so many to choose from, so I can't wait to see your comments below. In other news, we're going to be back next week with a review of Speed Limit on Monday, followed by a brand new episode of Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst. Yep, you heard me right. There's actually something that we missed in the initial run, so we're diving back in for one packed episode. Yeah, look for that next week. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.